Prayer saves a nation. Alfred the Great. This is the first in a series I'm doing on how prayer influences the course of national events. A while ago, I did a series on four kings who shaped the fate of their nations: Boru, Kenneth MacAlpin, King Arthur, and Alfred the Great. Alfred is the one I want to focus on now. Without prayer, I don't believe that he would have succeeded in his battle with the Vikings. Alfred was possibly the greatest king the English ever had. His heart was for God, and he desired to learn and grow in the knowledge of God. He translated many works into English, including the first 50 Psalms. His biographer was a devout Welsh monk called Asa, whom he invited to his court to help him in the task of educating the English. Alfred was dismayed that the levels of literacy and Bible knowledge were negligible in England at the time. He invited many scholarly people to his court to help him improve the level of education in his kingdom. Asa wrote this of Alfred: "He used to moan and sigh continually because God had created him lacking in divine learning and knowledge of the liberal arts." Asa likened Alfred to Solomon, who sought wisdom from God. Asa tells us that he was in the invariable habit of listening daily to divine services and Mass, and of participating in certain psalms and prayers, and in the daytime and night offices. As well as translating the first 50 Psalms, he translated several other religious works and drew up a law code based on biblical principles. When Alfred came onto the scene, the north of England, the Midlands, and the east of England had been defeated by the Vikings. Wessex in the south of England was the one remaining Saxon kingdom that had not been invaded. In January 871, the Vikings invaded Wessex itself. At that time, Ethelred was king of Wessex. Alfred was his younger brother. The famous Battle of Ashdown was about to commence. Alfred's biographer Asa states the following: "But Alfred, as I have been told by truthful eyewitnesses, marched up swiftly with his men to the battlefield. The king Ethelred had remained a long time in his tent in prayer, hearing Mass and declaring that he would not depart thence alive till the priest had done, and that he was not disposed to abandon the service of God for that of men. And according to these sentiments he acted. This faith of the Christian king availed much with the Lord, as I shall show more fully in the sequel." So Alfred commenced the battle against the Vikings and was only later joined by his brother the king. The Christian Wessex army won the first major victory against the Viking invaders. Later in the year, Ethelred died, and Alfred, as his successor, became king. There were many ups and downs in the war against the Vikings after this, but if the Vikings had won the Battle of Ashdown, they would have destroyed all opposition and England would have become a Viking territory. Things didn't go well for the Wessex army despite their victory at Ashdown. Eventually, Alfred attempted to buy off the Danes with gold and secure 5 years of peace. During this period, a change came over the Viking army, and many of them decided to settle down and work the land. This was, I believe, an answer to prayer. The Vikings remained heathen, but they were moving closer to a place where they would be open to Christianity. Unfortunately, after the 5 years was up, a new Viking leader named Guthrum came on the scene who had a plan for the conquest of Wessex. Alfred tried buying the Vikings off again, but this time the Vikings simply took the gold and carried on as usual. Once again, the tides of war swung to and fro between the Vikings and the Christians, culminating in the Battle of Edington, or Ethandun. This time the Viking army was decisively beaten and chased back to their camp. Guthrum, the king of the entire Viking army, was trapped in his camp at the mercy of Alfred. Normally in war, this would have been the point when the defeated double-crossing Vikings were annihilated. Amazingly, Alfred dealt with the situation according to real Christian principles. He invited Guthrum and the Viking chieftains into his camp for 12 days of talks. He treated the Vikings well, he entertained them and showed them Christian love. He was truly fulfilling the biblical injunction to overcome evil with good. At the end of the 12 days, Guthrum agreed to be baptized as a Christian, and Alfred regarded him as a son. This was followed by a whole series of Viking conversions. This act of grace by Alfred laid the foundation for the whole of England to eventually become a Christian nation. England has never had another king of the stature of Alfred. He was a model of a Christian king. However, I hope to show that every time the nation has faced disaster, it has been amazingly preserved by the power of prayer and Christian faith. So thank you for listening. If you found this video interesting, you can find more information at prophecy-workshop.com.